Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Tony Harvin, and welcome to the Tony Harvin Network YouTube channel. If you like, hit that subscribe button listed right here. After you hit the subscribe button, if you want to receive all notifications of videos that come out on this YouTube channel, hit the notification bell and select all after you hit the notification bell. Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Tony Harvin, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Tony Harvin Network, the secondary YouTube channel aside of Tony Harvin. And we're here on this evening talking about another crazy story in reference to a 34-year-old man. A 34-year-old man from the state of North Carolina was arrested for the abduction of a 13-year-old girl. Understand that, from Texas. All this had to do, the foundation from this was social media. But in general, I greet everybody upon this evening, you know what I mean? And this story, somebody told me about it today, and I seen some articles when I got home. So now we're here to discuss the situation like that. We're going to read off the story and, of course, get advice from the chat room and people's thoughts and opinions upon this matter. All right, for sure. So the guy name is what is that? Jorge Camacho. He said a man is facing a number of felony charges after a 13-year-old girl was reported missing in Dallas, Texas. Now get this, Dallas, Texas. 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, she was abducted from Dallas, Texas, and he was from North Carolina. Check this out. It said she was rescued from a locked shed at the North Carolina home where he was staying. Some might say, like, how did this 13-year-old girl find her way from Dallas, Texas to North Carolina? A 13-year-old girl. All right, check this out. We're going to go more into the story. All right. It said Richie Simmons, sheriff of Davidson County, North Carolina, said in a news conference that his department was contacted by a special agent with the Texas FBI Violent Crime Task Force this past Friday afternoon about a missing girl from Dallas that was believed to be with an adult resident of Lexington, North Carolina, identified as 34-year-old Jorge Camacho. Jorge or George Camacho, however you want to pronounce his name and things of that situation. All right. So they said officials in North Carolina said during the news conference that about 10 minutes after receiving the tip, FBI, they had eyes on a home where the 34-year-old Camacho was staying in Lexington, North Carolina, about 60 miles from Charlotte, North Carolina. So they said the deputy sheriff office said they pulled Camacho over as he left his property this past Friday evening. In a short time, found the girl locked in an outbuilding. So the little girl was locked in the outbuilding. The property owner said she allowed Camacho to stay there, but said he did not live there in the main house on the property, and that she didn't know he had anyone else staying there. You understand? So that's a crazy situation right there in itself. What's up to Miss Ann? So they said Simmons said the investigators learned the girl had been communicating with an adult. So the little girl, the 13-year-old girl from Dallas, Texas, she was communicating with this 34-year-old man over the internet. You know what I mean? And which many situations have happened like that. One may say, how does a 13-year-old and a 34-year-old get connected? Or how does a 34-year-old man find any type of interest upon a 13-year-old girl? You know what I mean? I was speaking with somebody today, and they mentioned that some people, which is true, some people who they can pose as somebody else. You know, a 34-year-old man can pose as a 14-year-old boy, 15-year-old boy over the internet. But the thing is, what business, where was these parents at, or who raised her? You understand that, to even want to meet up with anybody over the internet? You understand that? I understand that, you know what I mean, he's been arrested and stuff like that, but it's some things that little girl got to learn. You understand that? You don't talk to nobody over the internet. You don't go meet up with nobody over the internet. Why wasn't her parents monitoring her laptop or tablet or whatever device she was on to communicate with this 34-year-old man, Camacho. All right. So back to the story. You know, they said it says Simmons, the sheriff officer, the sheriff office said investigators learned the girl had been communicating um, with an adult through a unspecific social media site, a social media site that um, she was contacting him on. So that's him right there. That's him right. So that's him right there, Jorge or George Camacho, whatever you want to call his name, and things of that situation. What's up to Angela, Estrella, MHW, Kalani? Um, what up, Smooth? You says even if she was raised right, sometimes these kids are rebellious. I agree with that. I agree. Some kids could be rebellious. You know, some kids could definitely be rebellious. You know, but what do you say? Um, how does a 13-year-old um plan something like that, without her parents being on top of her? Listen, I'm very strict. I'm an overprotective parent. you know you want to check these kids devices. You want to make sure these kids are in the house. You want to put a tracking device on them and stuff like that. I'm strict, man. I just go by a whole different set of rules and stuff like that to make sure and ensure that none of those things happen, especially monitoring, what I mean, a cell phone or laptop and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Once a child turns 18, they considered an adult. You know what I mean? But of course, it's still your baby. But a 13-year-old, really? 13? You understand? All right. You said glad she was rescued. I was sneaky when I was a kid. Oh man, you funny. Miss Ann says peace and blessings to you, my brother Tony H, and the Harvin family. Appreciate that. Much blessings back. MHW says fear and education is needed to raise these kids today. Talk with them, share what's really going on in the real world. Don't let your kids be ignorant to the evils of this world. Pick their brains. Understandable. For sure, understandable. All right. So they said, so this adult 34-year-old man was communicating with the 13-year-old girl before he abducted her through a social media website, and that the nature of those communications was consistent with grooming and enticement, and that the girl was encouraged and convinced to leave her home. So it was contacting each other over a period of time and things like that. And of course, this 34-year-old man, pretty sure he had wicked not acknowledgement and stuff like that to entice a 13-year-old girl and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So he convinced the girl to leave her home. All right. It says, according to a missing poster shared online, the girl was last seen in Dallas, Texas on March the 1st. Davidson County Sheriff Department said video cameras near the girl's residence recorded a vehicle around that time that was registered to an address in Davidson County, North Carolina. So basically, that's how they caught him. Basically, that's how they come. So imagine if a camera was not there and whatnot to catch the license plate to that vehicle. You understand that? So the man, um, I believe he drove down to Dallas, Texas for this 13-year-old girl. He drove from North Carolina, Lexington, North Carolina, all the way to Dallas, Texas for a 13-year-old little girl not to take her back to North Carolina. I don't understand that, man. I honestly, I really don't understand that. All right. Kalani says these parents leaving these kids home alone, trusting them too much. Your kids are not your friend. Absolutely. Absolutely, for sure. You know, where was these parents at? Where were they? You know what I mean? Listen, they should be blamed for something. All right, back to the story. It says following her rescue Friday, the girl who appeared to be uninjured was taken to a medical center for evaluation before being reunited with her family in Dallas, Texas. You know, all right. So once again, here goes this guy again. That's him right there, 34-year-old Jorge Camacho. Yeah, so that's him right there and whatnot. We're gonna go back to the story. So they said that the female, the girl was uninjured, was taken to a medical center for evaluation before reunited with her family in Dallas because the missing girl is a juvenile believed to be a victim of a sex crime. To protect her identity, her name has been intentionally omitted from this story. They said Camacho was facing a number of charges, including felonies for child abduction. Child abduction. Wow. Restraint of a child, human trafficking, rape of a person under 15, and indecent uh, what is that? Liberties with a child. Camacho may be facing additional charges and is being held on a bond of $1 million, 1.25 million dollars, $1,250,000 that he is being held on bond for that. Now, what idiot, what fool would want to bail this guy out for something like that? You know what I'm saying? What idiot? All right. Kalani says this guy was trying to pimp her out. He says, where is her parent? Or was she a motherless or fatherless child? Wow. Wow. That's crazy. You know what I'm You know what I mean? Smooth says, honestly, I'm not too surprised. A lot of nasty people out here, man. Absolutely. There's a whole lot of them out here. You definitely got to watch them, especially over the internet. You got a lot of creeps out here posing as something that they're not to try to lure these kids and what have you. You know, they may pose as a 13-year-old boy, 13-year-old girl, and whatnot. These gaming sites, these gaming applications, TikToks, or any type of access, especially games, where as though there's an access to chat with these kids and whatnot, and things of that nature. And a lot of kids, they are clever. They know how to hide certain things in dealing with applications and games and things of that situation. All right. Miss Ann says we don't have mature people raising children anymore. A lot of kids are being raised by grandparents or family members who are too busy to raise them. Sometimes they're looking for love and all. All right. You says prostitution. Prostitution. Wow. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of human trafficking going on out there, and a lot of those type of guys will use those type of girls for prostitution and whatnot. You're absolutely right about that one. Listen, it's a crazy situation, you know, that he had the time, he had the gas money to go all the way out to Dallas, Texas. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure this is not his first time. It's not his first time. It's his first time getting caught, probably. But in general, I'm pretty sure, and this is my opinion, that is not his first go round and things of that situation. If you would travel to Dallas for a 13-year-old girl, imagine who he tried to lure in his area, and this guy's about 60 miles away from me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm out here in Charlotte. Now, what does these fathers think when a situation like that happens? Listen. I got to get it in with him if something like that was to happen. I got to get it in. Let me in that jail, let me in that prison, let me get at him for a minute. You understand? You know, because stuff like that, you know what I mean? People like him, they deserve certain things coming towards them because something like that you just don't do to a kid and stuff like that. You know what I mean? All right. MHW says it's getting so bad. We're going to need to pay for security for you kids to get to and from school. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You know what I mean? You're absolutely right about that. I mean, some schools got police officers, but still, that's not enough. You know, personal security, tracking devices and things like that. You know what I mean? I definitely could see that for sure. So back to the story at hand. All right. They didn't release any statements about his criminal history or whether he had any type of whether he was a registered sex offender. The sheriff out here says they warn parents about cases like these are becoming more frequent, and that parents should be doing more to monitor what their children are doing online. That's a good point by that sheriff. That's a definitely a good point. Monitor what your kids are doing online for sure. Don't get too comfortable like they just playing a video game, or just because you put some type of parental controls on it or blocks on it and things like that. You don't know. Kids in school might have give them information on how to unlock that and stuff like that, how to hack the codes and whatnot to take that type of stuff off. So definitely keep monitoring your kids' things daily. Even if you're bugging them, even if you are on top of them to the T, to make sure that nothing is going on like that. All right. So the sheriff says if it doesn't stop at home, it comes to the schools, and the teachers have that responsibility. If it doesn't stop there, it comes to us. Unfortunately, Simmons said, as parents, they've got to wise up and see that the danger to these kids continues to go on. Please help us out. I'm very thankful. I thank God that we were able to find this young girl. It may not be that case forever. Wow, wow. So that sheriff, he has a great point. You understand? That's good that he put God into the equation and whatnot to what he was saying. Absolute great right there for sure. You know, um, you said it would be hard to restrain yourself if it is your child. I don't ever want to be in that situation. I would have to repent for sure. Absolutely. Connie said they be girls showing their body parts to strange people on social media. Good point. Good point right there. And a lot of them do it. On Facebook, on Instagram, on Facebook, it got this people you may know type of thing that just pop up with random people and what have you. I guess it'd be like people connected to them, their family members or friends or what have you, and stuff like that. And you actually sometimes you don't know these people. You don't know them from a can of paint, and you see these young girls on there dressing half naked and whatnot for attention, and they don't know. And I don't understand why would the parents even allow that. Listen, if you under your parents' roof, listen, you ain't doing none of that stuff. Not over here. You understand that? You ain't doing none of that stuff. Absolutely not over here, for sure. You says even if they are fast, a man should have enough respect for himself and the little girl to not look at her that way. That is gross to look at a child as a sex target. You know what I mean? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. When you have a grown man uh, looking at 13-year-olds, looking at 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds, and some go way lower than that type of age and what have you. So if they get caught just one time, imagine how many other uh, little girls or boys and whatnot have completed their wicked agenda on them, which is crazy. It's a crazy situation. What up, DeMarcus Henderson? You said 6 people in this world. What's up, Khadijah Reeves? Shout out to you and your YouTube channel in general for sure. Subscribe to go check out Khadijah Reeves YouTube channel for sure. Back to the story. All right. So basically, the guy he was arrested and what have you and things like that over a license plate. So somebody's camera in the area or security camera in the area captured this guy's license plate and whatnot, and that's a good thing. Wonderful, wonderful. So that's a good thing that, is another creep behind bars and whatnot. As I did the stories about these so-called preachers out here, touching on kids and what have you and things like that. He's no different. This guy's no different. He just ain't put the pastor title to his name, but he's no different. You got a lot of these people like that, like him, that would probably creep in the church if they didn't get caught. You know what I'm saying? So they could have more access to vulnerable people and kids and whatnot, for sure. What up, Thor? You said the scriptures are fulfilling fast. You're right. Absolutely. It definitely is. You know. All right. Let's go to another article about this story. All right. So they said he lured. Another article said he lured the girl. He lured the 13-year-old girl. You know what I'm saying, with cash. You know what I'm saying? He lured the girl with cash from her home 1,000 miles away with cash. With cash. That's a crazy thing right there. You know, crazy, crazy thing right there. They said Camacho was arrested after police discovered he had used a social media messenger to groom and lure the abducted girl from her home. So he used a social media messenger. What's some of the most popular social media messages out there? Facebook, Instagram. I'm not too hipped on Twitter and whatnot, but I just know more so of Facebook and Instagram. Definitely monitor that. Your children Facebooks. Instagram. First and foremost, it should be only for family members. You know what I'm saying? Family members, school classmates and whatnot, and things like that, and nothing else after that. You know what I'm saying? All right. The Marcus says they got plenty of grown 18-year-old. They got plenty of grown 18 to 21-year-olds. You're right. You're absolutely you're absolutely right about that one. You know what I'm saying? All right. Back to the story at hand. With this guy, uh, Jorge Camacho, and things like that. Hey, hey, hey. Say hi. Say how y'all doing. Say it loud. Say how you doing. How you doing? Good. All right. Go back and watch TV. Oh, you said FaceTime. FaceTime. Wow. FaceTime. That's wow. Yeah, you're right about that. FaceTime and all that. Miss Ann says some of these kids are looking for a place to run away to. That's another good one right there. Runaways and whatnot, because maybe they feel as though the household is too strict and whatnot. They don't want to abide by the rules and things like that. And when you got a creep like that to entice a young girl with cash, probably entice kids with candy and promise them this and promise them that, shopping. A 12-year-old, 13-year-old. You know what I mean? They find that type of stuff exciting. You know, they find that type of stuff very exciting for sure. You know, so they said about this guy, and they showing the shed right here. Let me see if I could copy this. I'm gonna copy this picture, and I'm gonna try to put it up right now about the picture of where the little girl, where he had the little girl locked in. So I'm gonna try to put it up. I'm gonna get it right here, right now, on here, so you guys can see it. You know, so it's a crazy situation in general. All right, let's see if we can get it, and definitely be careful about, you know, once again, what websites you allow your kids to go on, for sure. You know, it's a definitely scary situation. Listen. I don't even like my girls walking home from school by herself and whatnot. My oldest daughter. I try my best to get there in time, or a family member, or whatever the case may be, and things like that. I don't play that, man. You understand? I definitely don't play that. Definitely overprotective in general and whatnot. and what have you. All right. So with these pictures, with this shed, um, I, I, I don't think they allow me to take this one off here. Let's try again. All right. Let me see if I can get this from a screenshot with this shed. All right. So this is like something you put like tools in and all this other stuff and things like that the little girl was hiding it. Well, not hiding, beg your pardon, that he had the little girl in, you know, versus where he was staying at in general, you know. So they're not allowing me to see it. I don't know. It probably has some type of copyrights on it, you know, with this picture on his website. So, but if you type in this guy name, George Camacho, there it is right here. George Camacho, Lexington, North Carolina, 34-year-old fellow who was arrested for abducting a girl, going down to Dallas, Texas, and bringing her back to Lexington, North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? In general. All right. So this is the shed right here. That's it right there that he had the little girl in. You know, one of those sheds. You know, he had her in and things like that. That's somewhere where you put like animals or tools or whatever in there. You know what I'm saying? So the little girl was missing for a little 2 weeks almost. So she was standing. He had the girl in there. You know, so that's it right there. That he had the little girl in. You know. What up, Lady Speed? Blessings to you too. You says we have to be more aware about kids' whereabouts without chaperoning. That is our responsibility. What up, Cali boy? Smooth says, I bet she was terrified. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Listen, that sounds like something out of a movie and whatnot and things of that nature, you know? So we was talking about trafficking, human trafficking and whatnot with the runaways. You know, a lot of kids they don't want to be under their parents' rules because it's too strict. That's another thing. You know, that's another thing. Whereas though young kids may want to run away and stuff like that, especially being enticed by a grown man with cash and they promise them the world and stuff like that and things of that situation. You just never know. You just never know at all with a lot of these people out here. All right. So let's go to another article about the story and things like that. So it says, according to the victim's mother. So the victim's mother spoke. The mother, she spoke on this is another article from a different website. So the mother has spoke. Wow. Now I didn't see this part. It's according to the victim's mother who spoke with Dallas ABC news or whatever. They said Camacho met her daughter while playing an online video game, chatting online, messenger, Discord, and communicating for months. So they met over an online video game. Here is though you have a grown man playing video games with young kids, you know, playing video games with a 13-year-old, 12-year-old, and whatnot. You got no business being grouped up and whatnot. I believe they have an option of what type of age range, what type of age brackets that you want to play with when you're playing a video game online in general, you know. And he must have clicked that, you know, 10 to 14 or something like that. You know what I mean? That's a sick mind right there. That's a sick mind, you know. He probably had an adult account and then created a child account and played it off like he was 14 or something like that. You know, he probably did. But the mother was clearly aware of how they met. Do you blame the mother? Do you blame the mother for her not really being big on her daughter and really checking her online gaming out upon who she's talking to, who she got access to, and stuff like that? You know, how did she get time to talk to this fella? you know what I'm saying, for months without her mother even noticing at all. Not even noticing, you know? Like I said, he could have been playing like he was 13 or 14. But if he was being himself as a 34-year-old grown man, listen, that's a crazy situation, man. For real. All right. What up, True Definition? Kalani says, I block, I block it. You know, he says some parents are willingly trafficking their kids. That's another thing I was thinking about today. A lot of them do. A lot of parents give their kids up in that human trafficking thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, people would give their kids up just for a quick dollar, or they pimping their own kids and stuff like that. You know, all right, all right. True Definition says, I do hold her responsible. Ms. Ann says many of these gamers are created to mislead our children. Many of these games are created to mislead our children. I agree with that. I agree with that. Although there are some educational games, but there are a lot of wicked games out there. You understand that? Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, you know what I'm saying? All these games like that, definitely, for sure. And these kids be locked in the games for hours and hours. You understand that? I'm talking about hours on this game. They don't eat nothing. You know what I mean? They don't use a restroom or anything. They be locked in the video game talking for hours and hours and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Nope. Listen, put a time limit on that. Listen, you can only be on your system or whatever 3 4 hours. It has to be educational or nothing wicked or demonic. You understand that? Play a game of Family Feud. Play ABCs. You know what I'm saying? Play spelling game, math game. You know what I'm saying? Games like that to educate yourself, to build your wisdom and knowledge up, and things like that. They got Bible quizzes and whatnot, games and whatnot. Play that. All right. He says I don't do the video games. I used to do the video games a long time ago. You know, I played Call of Duty. Call of Duty. I used to always play Black Ops back in like 2009 and 10, you know, way before the church, way before coming to the truth of God and whatnot. And Call of Duty Black Ops sure was addictive. Sure was, man. It really was, you know, very addictive, you know. But I think like a year or two later, I gave my gaming system up with the games, gave it all up by myself, you know, because it was too addictive, and it was holding me back from a lot of things I could have completed and stuff like that, for sure. So you're definitely on point with that. You says video games are boring. Well, if you playing like NBA 2K, you know, or Madden and stuff like that, you know, some of that stuff could be fun because you know we into sports, mostly guys and whatnot. But the thing is, they be getting online talking to people, which is kind of weird, you know, when you have a 12-year-old, 13-year-old. I mean, if it's their friends and what have you, cool. Family members, cool. But when you start like creeping off to try to talk to other people and whatnot from across the world, across the country and whatnot, no. You know what I'm saying? No. No way. All right. Smooth says, I used to be big on video games before I was exposed to the teachings of holiness. Gaming is addictive. True Definition says, I'm Avery, knows grandmama. Lady Speed, he says, so sad how will she recover from the trauma? Prayer more. People, hen, what is that? Hen orange, covering eyes. All right. He says, just watching TV is boring. Well, you know, I don't watch too much TV and whatnot. Just a lot of sports, maybe documentaries and whatnot, or educational things and stuff like that. The stuff on TV is crazy. You know, it's real crazy and whatnot, for sure. All right. So the mother spoke. you know, and things like that. I'm pretty sure that mother learned her lesson. I hope she learned her lesson from not being on top of her daughter, playing video games and allowing her to chat with any of your body online and things like that. And I hope she chastised her daughter. Listen, you got to lay the smack down on her. You have to. You understand that? Listen, I'm happy that you're rescued and whatnot, cool and everything. We done saw, we done wept. Oh, now it's time for you to get the business now. You got to take one. You got to listen. You're gonna get chastised. You understand that? And then you're gonna be grounded. You know what I mean? You're definitely gonna be grounded. You know, for sure. So after we get back to Dallas, Texas, and finish crying and we happy on the plane and whatnot, or however we got transported. Once we get in the house, oh, it's on. Go get that belt right there. Go get that one right there. You know, you understand? Put some oil on that belt too. You know, because you're gonna get chastised for what you have done. Because you should know better at the end of the day. You know what I mean? All right. He says there's nothing being taught with these games, and they are too time consuming. Absolutely, absolutely. You know, he says I can dig it. Absolutely. Correction. Very nosy in my grandchildren's life. Absolutely, that's a good way to be. Definitely be on top of your grandkids. You know, Nana and Papa are more strict. They come from them times. They come from them Joe Jackson times. You understand? They come from them times. You know what I mean? So definitely, for sure, you're on top of them. You know what I mean? Them Joe Jackson times, and you know what I'm saying? All right, that's for sure. Cali Boy says, I think we as parents need to have real talks with our kids, not just stranger danger, but the truth about what could happen if they are abducted. For sure. Absolutely, I agree. You know, that's why, I recommend if you're gonna give your child a phone and whatnot, just for emergency purposes and whatnot, put a tracker on it. You know what I'm saying? Put a little tracker in their book bag. Or put a tracker chain or something around their book bag or something, or a tracker belt, something that can really track them. You understand? Just in case. You know what I mean? This is just in case type of thing. Because you never know. You never know. School bus might let them off at a different stop. Might leave them on the bus while they're sleeping. Situations like that happen. I believe something like that happened recently in Jersey. You know, a little boy was left on the bus. He was left on the bus. You know, bus driver didn't check the bus. You're supposed to always check the bus. You know, when your route is finished and you're parking in a lot and stuff like that, go through the bus. Check underneath the seats, wherever, to make sure a kid is not somewhere sleeping or hiding in general. But he or she didn't, and the kid was left on the bus just like that. You understand? Right? Track that phone, absolutely. Um, you says kudo. Okay, you talking MHW. He says also know their password. Absolutely, absolutely, and have it where as though that you could see their phone from your phone. You can see what's going on from your phone. You know what I mean? I got a computer for my son. I got a computer for my son, 14-year-old, and I could see his activity from my email. It lets me know what's going on in situations like that, for sure. You know what I mean? You want to track your kids' things from your computer or your phone or wherever, you know what I mean, to see what's going on. Let them think that you in, but you definitely could see what's going on, for sure. You know? All right. Cali Boy says, big boy facts. Tony, real talk. Absolutely. Definitely, absolutely. All right. So, back to the story. It said we extend our deepest sympathies to the individual and her family and this unbelievable challenging time, a spokesperson for Discord said in a statement, adding that the company works to keep bad actors off their platform. We have and continue to cooperate closely with law enforcement in their investigation of this terrible incident. So that is the company Discord, the online messenger, that they was on. They sent sympathies and whatnot, and whatever the case may be. I know why they said that. I know why, because they knew a lawsuit could possibly happen and what have you. If something would have happened to that little girl badly, oh, of course, they definitely would have somebody would have got some blame at the end of the day. He would have got arrested or whatever the case may be. Still, you know what I mean? But the parents would probably most likely probably would have seeked something as far as a lawsuit with this online gaming chatting type of thing. All right. So it says okay, they spoke about that he's being held in jail for over $1 million bond and whatever the case may be. All right. Anything else about the situation? They give some statistic that says more than 2,100 people were referred to the federal authorities for human trafficking offenses in 2020, according to the data from the Justice Department. 62% increase in referrals since 2011. Wow. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, 365,348 children were missing in 2020. What? 364,348 children were missing in 2020. Really? Wow. With estimates suggesting that 30% were actively trafficked. So 30% of that were in human trafficking. You know what I mean? They said Simmons said, which is the deputy, which is the sheriff, beg your pardon, said parents should be mindful of the child's social media activity, given their potential susceptible and vulnerability to bad actors, as we talked about earlier. That a lot of these people could pose as something that they're not. They could pose as a 13-year-old. They could pose as a 14-year-old. You know what I mean? Just to try to lure the kids and whatnot. All right. MHW says, best advice, know the passwords. A responsible person should know that he should check the bus when the shift is done. Absolutely. Kalani says, I got password. He's right about that. No privacy with them phones. I paid the bill. I'm the parent. Wow. All right. We're about to conclude this live. So if anybody got any closing remarks to this story about this 13-year-old girl who was rescued after being abducted by this 34-year-old man out of North Carolina, Jorge Camacho. Once again, to summarize it, they was talking online recently for months and months, and he lured her with cash and whatnot to come to Dallas all the way from North Carolina in a vehicle. The vehicle license plate was caught on somebody's camera, when they did their investigation. He picked the girl up and he took her back to North Carolina, whereas though he put her in a shed. I showed it earlier. She was there for, maybe 2 weeks and whatnot. The police traced the license plate all the way back to that residence, and that's where they found the little girl, and he has been arrested and is in jail in Davidson County, and his bond is $1 million, $1.25 million for sure. All right. What up, Marva Crawford? What up? All right. You says, God bless her little heart. Lonnie says, TikTok app, my daughter said, TikTok. Absolutely. TikTok. Absolutely. Right. All right. Cowboy said, really appreciate the update, brother. Keep up the good work. Appreciate that. I hope everybody have a wonderful day. God bless to everybody. We're working on some biblical discussions on the other YouTube channel, Tony Harvin. Be on the lookout for more True God videos on that channel, Tony Harvin. Be on the lookout for more stories on here, more comparing the teachings videos on here, poems, and whatever I got going on this YouTube channel. All right. So I hope everybody have a wonderful night. God bless for sure upon this story in general. Thankfully, she was rescued and whatnot. So I'm Tony Harvin. Thank you for coming to the Tony Harvin Network upon the story. I'm out. Peace. Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Tony Harvin, and welcome to the Tony Harvin Network YouTube channel. If you like, hit that subscribe button listed right here. After you hit the subscribe button, if you want to receive all notifications of videos that come out on this YouTube channel, hit the notification bell and select all after you hit the notification bell.